Morning Glory.
Dude, it's been a lack of sleep for the last couple of days. I got a terrible one for you.
Why you lack of
I
sleep?
woke up in the middle of the night because I was having rough dreams, and I was like, oh, I really got to go to the toilet. I gotta poop.
This is how we're starting.
And then it was the dream was so violent, it woke me up, and I realized, no, it's just I have to poop in real life.
Oh my god!
And then I got in the toilet and I was doing my thing, but it was just dead at night. I was real tired, and I remember just phasing in and out of consciousness as I was trying to take a shit. I don't know. That's a singular experience that I've gone through.
Yeah,
Don't
well,
recommend it.
But why? Okay, the question is, why are you so tired the last few days? Are you taking shit every day?
No. Normally I'm great. Normally, this episode is.
He wakes up sleepwalking, but he's pants down in the middle of the hallway.
This episode is starting with indigestion. Go ahead.
Right.
So, but no, I think my diet for the last couple of days has been rough. So normally I'm like fantastic. No problem.
Was it all that
Fiber.
mayonnaise that we ate last night?
Dude, yeah, I reckon it was the chicken we had last night. We had Korean chicken again.
Oh, damn.
Dude, and it was
pretty good.
Protein.
What was it? It was the place in Joondalup, right?
Yeah.
Which one?
Oh, K Street.
Okay, sweet.
The Nem
That's where I cue you to continue what you're
Nem
saying.
recommended us to get the snow butter or snow whatever.
Oh,
it is.
I like that one.
Do you know
I
what
thought
snow
snow-
butter chicken is?
Yeah.
I
ate
thought
it.
snow was supposed to be like cheese, but it's sugar.
Snow is sugar.
I don't know if I'm a fan of
You keep,
sugar on
you
my
keep
chicken.
saying you thought it was cheese, and I didn't want to question you about it because you've
Cream-
clearly know more.
cream
in the
is
picture,
cheese.
Yeah,
in the picture, it looked like grated cheese. In the picture, it was like
Do you
if
read
someone,
the description?
I'm a picture book kind of guy.
I just don't know if I'd ever see the word snow and think cheese.
I'm a
Personally,
picture man.
Like snow is white and cheese is yellow.
The picture looks like when you go to an Italian restaurant and the waiter walks over and is like, "Do you want some parmesan?"
but that's
And they
parmesan
grate
cheese.
Parmesan.
Would fried
Why
chicken?
do you want some snow, sir?
But also, like, if you ordered fried chicken and you had parmesan cheese, wouldn't that be terrible?
Yeah, but in my brain, cheese and chicken makes more sense than sugar and chicken.
I don't know if it does.
Anyway, you like it, William?
Yes, I'm not bad.
Yeah.
I think this one had too much sugar on it.
Yeah.
Just a little bit
It's too much, then no.
Yeah, it was good.
It has to
I
have,
liked
like,
it. But even for me, who wants to throw like honey or something in
Now, you know
everything I eat.
what? This kind of chicken, how many, you only can eat one. I think that's the best. You stop at one.
Just one piece?
Yeah, one piece. And
Oh,
then
that's
you
a
enjoy
You
it.
treat it as like a little dessert
Yeah,
muffin
it's
at the end of the
correct.
meal.
So it's like you just have one because the problem is with this like those Korean fried chicken, right? They give you like 10 or 5 or 6.
Yeah,
Then you have to
you'll
finish it. Like
overindulge.
after the third one's like, oh,
Yeah, I woke up in the middle of the night and my stomach was not feeling super great.
Yeah.
I was straight in the toilet there.
What I'm saying is, if you want to eat this kind of stuff, you go with a group. That's why I say you have to go with a group of friends to eat Korean fried chicken, so you can share. So you take 1 to 2 max.
I was
each
giving
flavor.
Tom, who, if you haven't checked out our recent unboxing video of Edge of Eternities, just a little hint. Tom gets food poisoning again on video, and I was giving Tom a lot of shit for having food poisoning again. And then I woke up thinking, "Oh no, my hubris."
You caught it from him.
Yeah.
We talked about last week how I went to that K-Lab place and it was quite good. But then what happens is we go on whatever, it's like Sunday night, whichever day it was, right? And then on a Tuesday, usually I go to dinner with my family. We do that every Tuesday. And then on Wednesday when I come here, usually Sarissa will bring food for dinner for me as well when we work at the club. So I had Monday night and I was like, I don't want to waste that chicken. I was going to eat it with Lucas, but then Lucas was doing something different with football. So I just end up eating all of the remaining chicken from the night before.
Oh, no.
And I woke up Tuesday with like hectic gout. And I was like,
Your body demands vitamins, dude.
yeah, it was probably too much chicken over the space of just 2 days.
Yeah.
So I was far reserved last night when showering.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if you want to go like Korean fried chicken, go with a group of friends.
Yeah.
Minimum, I think 4 packs. Minimum 4 packs.
So we've had Edge of Eternities just come out for us, and on the same day's release, it was Comic-Con in the States, and we had a bunch of the spoilers come out for the new Marvel set. I know, Danny, you were adamantly, I don't care. This is not it for me.
I was not bothered about Spider-Man. Not in that I don't like Spider-Man, but I was like, I've really liked Edge of Eternities and I've opened a few more packs than I regularly would of this one. I don't need to go hard on the next one. The Spider-Man thing, I liked. Like I spoke to Kang yesterday. I read a lot of the later edition Spider-Verse comics, like that universe world, but I didn't do a lot of the early stuff, so I wasn't too bothered with it. And then as the spoilers started to come through, I was like, oh, the fuck, they've got me again.
Yeah. Wizards know what they're doing, man. It's
Just nice for your spider deck.
Yeah. No.
Can you imagine like Danny's deck now like suddenly like, oh, it's automatic spiders, and then Spider-Man.
Actual. Yeah.
Well, Connor messaged me, my mate, and he's like, has that Spider Pig thing a real card? Because like with Universes Beyond and then Secret Lairs and then proxy, like the proxies being like shielded out regularly, it's hard to tell for regular players what's real and what's not. And it all, it was like a year ago, someone said, or maybe not a year ago, 2 years ago, someone said, is that Spider Pig thing real? I'm like, obviously not, idiot. But now it's like anything could be anything.
Yes.
The Kang had a customer come through at some point and ask if there was a Ren and Stimpy secret lair, and I was like, your initial thing is to be like, of course not, and then it's like, but you got to sit back and be like, well, there's a My Little Pony and a Walking Dead one and this and that, and just like there could be a Ren and Stimpy secret lair, and I wouldn't even know about it.
True, very true.
I was thinking I was completely out, and then they revealed the set symbol for the Spider-Man, the circular one,
the classic,
and I was instantly in.
Yeah.
It looks so good on the card. It looks it looks so good on the card. I almost want a Spider-Man game card.
And also standard legal.
Yeah, the standard legal part's gonna be wild, right? The overall, as they started, it's Comic-Con. It's the right place for them to start showing off the new Spider-Man set. They even had their own separate. So there was the San Diego, I think it was San Diego Comic-Con.
I believe so.
The big one, basically. They had the Comic-Con area, the convention area, and then outside the convention area, you walk down the street, and Wizards of the Coast had their own space as well. Specifically, you could go check out for an event they were running where it was called the Marvel Spider-Man Magic the Gathering Experience, where they're running events, showing off cards and such. And they've shown off the art for this set. And as a comic book enjoyer, like I've read more comic books than regular books growing up. They've done a fantastic job with the art. Surprise, surprise. They've done a combination of references to classic Spider-Man comics and New Age Spider-Man comics, but also the way they've designed the cards. The sagas are like comic book panels. And I thought that was brilliant. Yeah, that's amazing. Even the font choice they've chosen is that comic book style of like more like lighthearted font. Yeah, like the type prints and stuff like that. They've already shown off it's definitely multiverse. So they have all the multiverses of Spider-Mans, like Spider-Man 2099 and Ghost Spider and such. Man, what I've been so fixated on just the art that when people send me, oh, have you checked out this card from the new spoilers? I haven't even read the rules. Yeah, I actually don't know what the cards do. I've just been being like, oh, it's that. Just have to engage in the imagery of it. Yeah. And I thought it was really cool that they had the whole Peter Parker as alter ego to Spider-Man as a flip card. So you can flip between Peter Parker and Spider-Man. So have you checked out much, William?
Because it's standard legal, right? Yeah. And then the cards are like not superly overly powerful.
They had to keep the power level.
That's my take. Like, I know it's like usually I like UB Universes Beyond where they come out cards and then like you just go OP and then like, it's not really. I wonder if that's it's an eventuality that makes it a good thing where they does slow down the expediency of like some of the
creep.
Yeah, the creep, because sometimes it's not even creep. Like there's that green creature in the new Edge of Eternities. It's too green. Oh yeah, gives everything trample and damage can't be stopped and stuff. And it's that it's not so much creep because when you look at 5 years ago. Like that, just being a 2/2 for 3/2 with like a one ability like trample seems exceptionally good. And then you stack on lots of things like, it goes back to that questing beast era where it's not so much of a creep as it is like an enormous leap through time. Yeah. So it's like maybe by pushing the Universes Beyond back into standard and then having to scale it back just a little bit, it means that overall the general power scale goes down, which gives them more room to work with, right?
That was their justification when they moved Universe Beyond to standard.
Got it, okay.
So their justification for moving Universe Beyond to standard was, A, they heard people's feedback that people wanted less products per year, and secondly, that Universe Beyond was impacting the internal formats too much, because the design team wanted to push it for eternal formats, but also you needed to have it not screw up eternal formats.
Yeah.
My theory as well is that, especially for licensed sets like the Marvel Spider-Man one, they probably have a strict licensing where they obviously not allowed to reprint the cards later down the line. So they would rather have it at a more standard power level. So as years go by, eventually the set goes in the wayside and it won't impact in the longevity of the game. That's the hope, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't want like 7 years down the line, someone's like, oh, I really got to find that one Spider-Man 2099 card, but I can't because it hasn't been reprinted.
Yeah.
No, they're gonna reprint it in probably like another Magic card,
a universe
right?
within.
Yeah.
Like how they're gonna reprint all the
But they want less
Marvel
cards.
stuff.
They want less cards to be like, oh, you have to go reprint it. So if you have a more like lowered power level, so this card isn't an eternal staple.
Correct.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah. People are hunting for more. They're like. I know obviously they've gone completely out the window with it, but I think it was the D&D set, right? Or no, it wasn't. They reprint them as like D&D characters. But you know how they started on a little venture where they would reprint some of the cards, but just with new arts and new characters. Right. But so I assume they're off that because they haven't really gone back to that since they did that.
Yeah,
they used to do that with play set boosters, where the extra card, the one with the magic sign at the bottom.
Yeah,
the list.
The list cards, but they print all the what's that? Stranger Thing cards.
Stranger Things, that was the one. Yeah, correct.
The Stranger Thing cards on there, and then it just gives people the opportunity to get those cards at a much lower price too.
Yeah, because they got cool Innistrad like reskins essentially.
Correct.
And I thought that was really cool. It was cool to see those cards that people were looking for. But maybe it was just too much for them to print 2 different runs of the same card effectively in short periods of time.
Speaking about print runs, you mentioned it, Danny, that Hasbro came out with their sales reports for Final Fantasy, and it was 200 million on day one.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was like
it's crazy,
cosmically
right?
the best-selling, fastest and best-selling Magic set of all time. $200 million globally. There's this thing where Wizards of the Coast also said they had to increase the print run. So like when people will say, oh, they could just print more Final Fantasy, they did print more Final Fantasy. Yeah. They maxed out their printers. They printed so much Final Fantasy that Hasbro came out and said they had to cut print runs for other sets.
That's why Edge of Eternity is getting cut.
So that's likely the reason why Edge of Eternities and probably also Marvel are going to have less stock floating around because Wizards of the Coast were just printing more Final Fantasy to try to match demand.
Now they said because I've already been told by our reps that the Spider-Man one is also going to be quite limited. So it is interesting that they were willing to hedge their bets on Final Fantasy being more popular than the Marvel stuff, right?
It was, well, I think they mentioned that in a lot of places they were selling out before release even came out.
Yeah.
So the overall pre-release demand, like the pre-order demand, was so high.
Well, I think that's the crazy part they're talking about. Is it's a $200 million release because the report that I initially saw was comparing it to like movie releases, which it would makes it the highest grossing movie release for a single day ever, right?
Yeah.
And if that's the case, and then part of the report is them saying, well, we sold out, but we sold out. So if we'd printed more, we could have sold more as well, like which will push them into breaking more and more records. So like the one I originally saw, it was comparing them to like movie releases. So the highest releasing one day movie gross was 157 million for Avengers.
Also, you have to understand, Magic is trying to not reduce the print, but to not overprint because of the whole 2020 to 2022 the era.
Yeah, that post-COVID era.
Where they overprint a lot of stuff. So now, like, that's why you see like there isn't any more restock with collector boosters ever again, because that's they've finished.
They've been easing up on the gas when it comes to like they realized the mistake of maybe we shouldn't saturate the market too much.
Also, which is a good thing because collector boosters should be collected boosters.
Yeah,
I guess
not.
The problem is when we
demand
get
boosters,
so
right?
so little product. From people talking to you today, it sounded like stores had product for collector boosters on Friday, but by Saturday we were one of the last that had collector booster product in the state.
There's a fine line to ride, I think.
Yeah, and that whatever line the Edge of Eternity's amount was not it.
I totally understand that. Totally agree with that as well. But yeah, I mean, the thing is with that, they say that the play boosters will be made available. So I guess they want to make the collector boosters collectors and the play boosters like everyone. Like,
indeed.
If you want cards, play boosters.
I don't know how your stockist went with it so much, but with like Dragons to Kia, it was super limited at the start for play boosters, which is hard because you need them for prizing and like, our regular Commander nights to give them away, and we didn't have that. So you're giving people boosters that are older, and some people are fine with that, but some people obviously want what's new. And then we've got massive back orders because, then we start playing the game of like, well, we try and order an amount from this distributor and this distributor, and some have it in stock, some it goes on back order. And now we're sitting on probably 20 boxes of play boosters because they all siphon through. And I think if maybe we were a little bit more diligent, we would have cut some of those back orders away or said, we don't want this. But they were kind of trickled in at different times just on invoices with other stuff. And we're just sitting on a massive back order of Tequila. And that's cool for the people that want it, but we're 3 or 4 sets behind at this point now, and people are obviously less excited about that product. So it's going to sit there and like burn space on our shelves for probably like the next year or two, I'd say. And we can push like drafts and stuff with it, but they need to be, if they've created a situation like the game where it's all about hot market and then FOMO. You can't then send it in 3 months later when the FOMO is on the next thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like we've not to bounce around too much, but we've been told the exact same thing about Flesh and Blood, how the distributor flooded the market too much a couple of years ago with way too much Flesh and Blood product, and now there's heaps of it sitting of older sets that customers like us as like B2B, like as a business, aren't buying that. So now the distributor has a huge amount of it. So then they've specifically gone back to Flesh and Blood and printing a lot less of the product that they're willing to buy into the Australian market. But it means that the Australian market is super limited on that kind of product as well. Are you still opening Flesh and Blood singles and stuff and selling it on the site?
Flesh and Blood, yes. Flesh and Blood, yes. It's not as much, but Flesh and Blood, yes. But like I think we talked about this, I think the last episode, like why Flesh and Blood is not, the older sets are not selling well because it's totally banned, right?
Yeah, the rotation of what's playable in Flesh and Blood moves very quickly.
In the meantime, since that conversation, I had a big conversation with our rep from our biggest distributor, and he was talking about how they've gone to a far more like spiky mode for their singles in their packs, and he said it's actually really worked for sales for Flesh and Blood. He said it dramatically spikes. The hits are far harder to get to, and the value of the rest of the boxes are a lot less. But he said it's dramatically changed on how much especially like in the maybe other stores where there's over east where you've got far more players. He said that their sales have skyrocketed at an all-time high.
Yeah. What happened with Flesh and Blood now is a bit more like the Bandai card games where you have maybe 2 to 3 hits in a box now, and the rest are kind of like so-so. Just as the natural mixture as the natural power level of Flesh and Blood, goes up, which means that you have to filter out less and less. Like more and more cards get filtered out what's playable.
Yeah.
And then just like in general, because the sales numbers, right? Because there's less hits in a box, people have to buy more boxes to try and get their stuff.
Yeah. So it's almost like a customer for Flesh and Blood is treating like buying a box the same way as a customer's going to treat buying maybe $110, like $90 collector booster. You're opening it to try and get those big hits.
Yeah.
The collector booster is obviously just a more refined product because you've got less trash that's getting thrown in the bin, whereas the Flesh and Blood is just accepting that you're looking for these like 1 or 2 cards.
Yeah.
Like the thing that I'll still never get over, even years of being in this business, is you open the bin to put some rubbish in there, and the customers open just the very top notches of the one-piece packs, and they're just trying to see if there's the shiny part of the card, and if not, they're not even opening enough of the cards to see what the rest of the cards are. It's just the pack's already in the bin. It's just very funny.
There's no point. It's just rubbish.
Exactly.
But do we ever get to a point?
The childhood person, like the inner child, who like every single pack was like, oh, what am I going to get? And then the jaded adult where it's like, nah, not worth over $10 in the bin.
In 2025, with environmental consideration as part of our thought, at what point do we fix that problem? Because it's so inherently wasteful, right?
Probably Bandai has to like do something about it, like return 10,000 cards and get 1 box for free. Sign me up, I'll return it to you.
Yeah.
It is like, not to like really harp on about it, but it is the funny thought of like we're shipping all these like crates of cards and all the fuel and the gas credits that it takes to then ship them back there to get your 1 box of cards or something.
All right. So talking about new releases and roundups, we haven't talked about Warhammer for a while. And there's been a bit of a crazy wild ride of announcements and new things coming out. We barely even touched upon, there's a whole new edition of Horus Heresy.
Yeah.
This is Horus Heresy 2nd edition.
Yes, second edition.
This is
the first one is Age of Darkness. This
how's it? 3 years ago?
Yeah,
feels like 3 years ago. Wizard of the Coast, Games Workshop came up with Warhammer Age of Darkness. Right, that was their launch box for the Horus Heresy. So this is Warhammer. Think of Warhammer 40k, but minus 10,000 years, and you're during the revolution, like a real peak time where it was called the Horus Heresy. It's a big narrative moment in the lore of Warhammer, and for a lot of players, it's really iconic.
Yeah,
it was when all the Space Marines kind of turned, 50% of the Space Marines turned chaos, and it was the entire universe at strike. I think the reason for this product, it's a bit like Warhammer: The Old World.
I think it's I always think of it more as like a World War II kind of game because you've rather than taking all the aliens and you're basically really cutting away all of the sci-fi out of the game, and you've got the two
Space
human
Marines
factions. Yeah, two human factions playing each other, right?
And
it's all just Space Marines, right?
No, there's other stuff now, but primarily people enjoy playing the Space Marines.
Yeah, they've allowed you to grandfather in some of the historically accurate like elder races that are in there, but it is the primary process of it is this, the Space Marines playing each other.
Yeah. And it's supposed to give old school Warhammer players that old school feel. Everything's a little bit slower. There's blast templates, a bit more like the randomness as well that old school Warhammer used to have. Very much like Warhammer the Old World, what they've done with, bringing Warhammer fantasy battles into the new age. Still, has like blast templates, scatter dice, randomness effects.
Some of that's cool stuff that people really loved. Definitely not an accurate way to format a proper game, but it's part of the heart of the game.
Can't take it too seriously as well because of the inherent randomness. Because Warhammer 40k is trying to take itself more seriously and more balanced. And I feel like Warhammer Horus Heresy, when it first came out, fantastic, right? It was a big success. We ourselves at Northern Boards, we sold a fair few boxes. Yeah, it was doing quite well. Now it's teetered down a little bit, and the new editions come out and really kind of boost the numbers again. And they came out with that really fantastic cinematic. Have you guys watched the cinematic?
Yeah.
No, I haven't actually. I didn't see it.
They had a cinematic for the new edition of Warhammer Horus Heresy, the second edition, where it was the drop site massacre, the Isstvan 5 massacre.
Oh, damn! How did I miss that?
Yeah, it was really cool, and we got to see a bunch of like iconic characters voiced. We saw Constantine Valdor, the Custodes leader, and we saw Malcador. They were in the video and they were speaking.
Malcador, the Sigillite.
The Sigillite, right? Yeah. And then they were in the videos. It was a real like moment where you can see spaceman on spaceman, brother on brother, killing each other. And I
think you mean brother.
They there's a weird thing where GW tries not to lean too hard into the brother meme.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you guys have checked out Space Marine 2. But they say brother a lot. A lot.
Man, you got to take that. You got to take that meme by the horns and really go with it.
Just go with it.
Yeah, it's when you think of a company tries to come up with an iconic.
Talking about Space Marine 2, the company Joy Toys, right? They made like the ones that
the figurines.
Yeah, the figurines,
big
right?
Figurines.
They just released Titus helmet.
Oh yeah,
we're going to get to that.
It's a 1-to-1 helmet.
Do you want to just jump to that real quickly?
Yeah.
Make a little cut. So we had a bunch of Warhammer announcements come out from.
Just come out soon.
I think they just had a big tournament, right? And then they announced a wearable, life-sized Titus helmet. It's just a Space Marine Lieutenant helmet.
Damn, is there a price on it yet?
Yeah, $300 US.
Oh, I'm fucking. That's going to be on. That's not coming.
And then people are complaining like, "Oh, that's why you shut down that whatever company who's making helmets."
Did they?
They had a helmet company?
That's a company that makes Warhammer helmet unlicensed, and then they shut it down. And people are angry about it. Like, bro, you're making money off IP.
Yeah,
when people get mad about that, you
That's
gotta
what I'm
understand
talking
you
about.
can't make money off someone else's intellectual property.
Is it a Weta product or is it?
It's wearable.
No, Weta.
It's
Is it
by
a Weta?
Joy.
No,
It's by
Joy
Joy
Toys.
Toy.
Oh, Joy. I thought you
Yeah.
said that. Sorry.
Yeah.
But I think for the longest time ever, fans of Warhammer have always wanted how cool it would be to own a helmet, a Spaceman helmet, and now you get there.
Also, you know that Joy Toys made Titans, right?
Yeah, they've made big
You know
minis,
that
big
Space Marine that
minis.
I have.
Oh, the toy
They made a Titan.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's this big.
I've ordered
massive.
one through the. Yeah,
It
that'll be.
is gigantic, by
Both
the way.
of these items are coming to a Northern Boards wall near you.
But they also chucked this Titus helmet on a stand as well. It's a little plinth for the helmet to rest on.
Yeah,
it looks appropriate. So they're in it once again. They're in a chart where it's like, yeah, I want to put the helmet on when no one's around and making noises.
Yeah,
and pretend to be a space marine for like a couple minutes, and then the adult kicks in. It's like, all right, no,
Wait.
all right.
All right, next week I'll bring my Iron Man helmet.
You have an Iron Man helmet?
Yeah, the one that
It
like,
moves?
You know the magnet ones? Like you can just tell just tell it to open.
That's sick.
What we'll do is we'll play a game where we all have to have a helmet, and then if the guest can accurately guess who's wearing the helmet that week, we can send them like a prize or something. We'll send them a booster pack or something.
It's just a lot of muffled Yeah. But yeah, that's really sick. Anyway, Horus Heresy.
All right, back to serious mode.
All right. So every new edition comes with a massive launch box. The launch box for the new second edition of Horus Heresy is the Saturnine box.
Yeah, it's the Chunk Boys.
The Chunk Boys. So mainly the big headliner is that they're releasing the new Terminators, which what are they? The classic Horus Heresy Terminators, which for me, I didn't realize they look like this. I don't know if you guys are.
I also didn't necessarily know they look like this.
If you see the old Terminators, they look like this.
No, they do?
Yeah,
Yeah, they got
the
big
long,
old
the long
chunky
shoulder
shoulder
pads. Like,
pads.
it makes
Yeah,
them look like a circle.
Sorry,
on top.
the metal ones. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
If you look at the old miniatures, they all look like this.
Gotcha. Well, the first edition Horus Heresy box, where they really pushed that whole like Beaky's helmet. I can't remember. It's like the Mark 4,
Mark 3.
Mark 3. No, Mark 3 is the Crusader helmet. I think.
The Mark II?
Not sure, but it was the Beaky's helmet. At first, I'm not a big Space Marine beakies look. Like I'm not a fan of that, but it grew on me over time as I saw the minis in person.
What's the reason for the big helmet though?
I don't know, aerodynamics.
I remember
What?
The bullets bounce off of it.
Yeah, well, the very original design is from like the Knights helmets where they have the peak at the front.
true,
so when a blade hits it, it's supposed to like
Deflect, right?
deflect away. Yeah.
Correct. Well, old school Warhammer design was very much inspired by
Wait,
dudes in
I want
Knights
to know
costumes.
what happened to Terminators though. Why do their helmet look so ugly?
I think it's supposed to be reminiscent of like animalistic, like a gorilla.
Yeah. I always thought more of a dog, but I think that
Yeah.
it's supposed to be more like aggressive looking. Yeah.
All right.
Because they've
why
got
they
that
have-
double barrel thing on the front of its
Correct.
jows.
And they got big chunky arms, compared to their leg size. They're supposed to be a little more frontage. But also, if you compare it to what the Saturnine, like the old school Horus Heresy Terminators look like, the old school Terminators from here are big, chunky, big shoulder pads. They look like football players, but you just it's like the artist was, what if I make this shoulder pad really big?
I remember I don't know if you think it, but as a kid, the metal ones, I always imagined, you know how you have like a drop pod and it gets shot out the side of a ship? I always imagined they look like drop pods and they would just get individually shot out of the ships and just to land.
No,
Just
like
land
if,
shoulders first.
if
Yeah,
you are a
shoulders
new Warhammer
first.
player, you don't know. Oh, I want that map.
Yeah, they also announced a new map.
Oh, is this sold out already?
Not
I guess
sure,
so.
sure.
Can you check the Games Workshop website now right now? So
I
while I
have,
talk,
I have a peek later.
okay. So now what happened is, if you are a new Warhammer player, you don't know the what's it called? The dilemma where your Terminator legs are out of the base, where we are using a 22 mil.
Oh, really?
You know the old Terminators, when you
Oh,
stand,
yeah, old Terminators didn't fit
the
on the base
legs
size.
are out of the base. Like,
We've got in the display cabinet over there, we've got some of the probably like early 90s Terminators and they're all on 25 millimeter bases, like the smallest.
yeah, the
circles you
smallest
can
one,
get.
yes.
Yeah.
Let me check.
So they've come a long way.
I feel like this is one of the designs that will eventually grow on me, but for now, it still looks ridiculous.
It does. It kind of looks like they're jump packs on their shoulders. You know what I
Because
mean?
I think the top point of the Terminators is that they are walking tanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the original books and the Horus Heresy books and stuff, they were described as maybe not so mobile, and a lot of the times that enemies would defeat them was because they were taking advantage of their inability to like maybe move around certain spaces or over large gaps. So it was definitely described as something, and I think that's when they became more athletic, like Terminators. People were like, well, that kind of they're not supposed to be that way, right? So.
What's your opinion on blast templates? Do you miss playing with blast templates?
They are very fun, but they do. If you're playing with your mate and you can both accept that it's a laugh, then it's fine. In a competitive setting, like when a tournament, they don't work whatsoever because there's too much open to interpretation situations going on there.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
I listened to some sort of like podcast thing many years ago, and a guy said the best way to play it is you point whether you want the template to go, and then you have your opponent count how many's in there, and you just accept whatever that number they say without questioning it, and your mind will be okay with it. And it's like it does open them up to being shitty and cheaty about it, but it's like if you just do that every single time and you make that the function that you have it as, you just accept what it is, and then you remove the conflict of the conversation every single time.
Yeah.
You just let the person be like, this is how many like full, because you also go into fulls and partials, like, and generally speaking, in most of the game rules, is a full is hit automatically.
Isn't that
and a partial you've got to roll?
Isn't
against.
that everything about Warhammer? Because it's actually open map, right?
Yeah.
Everything is open to interpretation, right?
Yes.
Because like movement,
But one
shooting
interpretation will usually go your way, and one interpretation will go the other person's
I know,
way.
like-
and some people.
But the extra layers of rules they remove, the less arguments that can exist around
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So
like a big problem with the.
that came through though.
That's good. I still listen to a podcast that I listen to every day for 10 years, and I can hear their iPhone dings going in the background, and I'm like, if we're at least more professional than that. So it's
What
yeah.
happened?
No, the computer just gave a little notification sound.
All right.
Butting. Thanks, Windows.
A big part of the arguments with like the Warhammer Fantasy, like the old world, is because they've increased the scale up from, I guess, 28 to 32, but they use the exact same blast templates. Naturally, your blast templates are covering less of the bases because all the bases are larger. So a lot of the template units have been nerfed unintentionally because instead of always hitting at least 10 guys,
Right.
now it's hitting just 5
You don't
guys.
want to be designing you want to have creative freedom how you design the minis.
Yeah.
So
then what they did was they went a little bit backwards where the guy who gets hit at the very center of it. So maybe like a catapult fires a rock and it hits it's supposed to knock a few guys out. Now it's hitting less guys than it has before because all those guys are on slightly bigger bases. So they've tried to extend that by making sure that it always kills one person or increasing the strength of it. But then it's like a whole balancing issue. You go back and forth about people being like, well, this is too OP and it's not OP. So I think the main thing is that you're always going to get debate on what people feel of it, like what their opinion of it is. And that's based purely on whether it works best for their army or for someone else's army,
Yeah. Did you ever play
Sorry?
Did you ever play old school Warhammer?
No, I don't play Warhammer, bro.
Back in the day. Like
Never played Warhammer.
We played Warcry back in the day.
Yeah, that's it. Like that's what I'm saying. Like Warhammer is such a game that it's just if you roll 6 all the time, regardless how bad you play, you win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm
You
saying.
have to work around the randomness.
Yeah.
So
I forget I forget the name of what it was called, but when you do the really big battles and you have all the knights and stuff like that.
The Apocalypse games.
Yeah, Apocalypse. That's what the word I was looking for.
yeah,
but have you
Apocalypse.
seen the blast templates for Apocalypse? It's just like sheets of plastic, and they're maybe like 30 centimeters, 40 centimeters by 40 centimeters. And it's just multiple of the big blast templates, but specifically sold in this thing, and they're huge. They
Do
cover
people miss Apocalypse? Because Apocalypse was its own thing. It was because of the scale of the game. They had a separate rule set. But Apocalypse, if you don't know what it is it was a rule set which allowed people to play everything.
Yes,
kind of in like Warhammer.
Yeah, all your Forge World stuff could fit in
and
there.
you could play in the points would go up to the tens of thousands.
Yeah.
So you could play like 30,000 point games.
I have very fond memories of Games Workshop Joondalup when Stu was there and Kirks was there, and you would have Games Workshop's really changed away from their strategy of how their stores look, but it used to be gaming tables in there quite a
Correct.
lot.
I do miss the gaming tables.
Now
Has that
it's
feel.
just like intro tables.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. So they used to have they would line up all the gaming tables up into one big one, and then we'd have a big Apocalypse day, and you'd pack in like even in a small store, you'd pack 30, 40, 50
Yeah, I wonder
people.
why they do that. They don't change that.
Well, it's just a purely any retail shop like Woolworths, for example, is the premium example of what this is. Every square meter in the shop is accounted for, and it's either making money back or it's not. So like a pathway in between shelves is not making money. So on the shelf, every square meter of frontage going from wall to ceiling is making X amount of money. Like the brands that want to be on shelf, they have to pay Woolworths to be on shelf.
Yeah.
So they pay like an allotment fee, and if they want to be higher up on the shelf, so closer to eye view, they pay more money for that. If you want to be on an end, the product has to pay money to be on the end. So not only is like Woolworths or any other shop making money from their product being like they're charging a fee to just be on the shelf in the first place, then obviously to make money from the sales, and that's why these like Costco and all these things are multi-billion-dollar companies because they're double dipping every sale. Now, Games Workshop owns all their licensing, so they don't have to worry about the first bit. So how they monetize their shelving is incredibly important. So it's all about making sure that they do, like, these are multi-million, if not billion-dollar companies. They're doing a lot of research and like, well, if we move the paints up like 35 centimeters more,
Correct.
we get better sales and less theft. And if we put these items here, these books on this shelf, they tend to sell better because they're closer to this other product.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so they're doing all of this, but what that means is when you start to monetize your entire space, you know how much money a gaming table is making throughout the day?
Yeah.
Big fat zero.
Yeah.
So you can turn that zero into something, and when you've got multiple stores, hundreds of stores all over the planet, and you're all feeding back into one sales number.
500 stores.
Yeah.
Especially because, don't forget, Games Workshop has more product now than they ever used to have.
Yeah. And it's like if you take out one gaming table in each one of the
crazy.
stores, every single one of those stores maybe does an extra $3,000 in sales a week because there's a shelf there with product on it. But you time that by every single store they've got all over the planet.
Check how much GW shares is.
Yeah.
And when a person's playing games and hanging out in there as well, they also take one way or another they're occupying the person, like the worker time, like their attention as well. So that person who works there that isn't able to serve another customer or pay attention and give a little extra service to a new customer who walks in and might buy something. So like that happens a lot at Northern Boards, right? There's a fine line of balance to be struck where I'm attending the people who are hanging out here and playing and making sure they're having a good time. And also when someone new walks in, I can also have my time directed at them as well.
Correct. Yeah, they need assistance like buying product and stuff.
Yeah, and it happens, for example, yesterday when we had the pre-release on, right? I was busy trying to get the pre-release going, and I had a father and a son walk through as brand new players, and they were looking to get into playing Magic the Gathering. And it was one of those things where I was recommending them certain things and certain products and where they can start with, but I just didn't have the time to. If I had more time, I would sit down and teach them how to play Magic.
That is one of the things. As a business, we constantly look at we could honestly run every day with probably 2 extra staff. It would be helpful here and helpful not like in certain places. But part of being successful here is trying to keep lean, not spending too much money on rent and staff and wages and all these extra things. So it means the longevity of the business is far more, and the leakage of like money going out in different directions is less. But it does mean there's certain times like when there's 2 events effectively running on the same day, it does make it incredibly hard because you have one person really being responsible for all of that.
Just FYI. So pre-COVID, GW shares were like 50, 60 cents, right?
Well,
Now, and COVID, it was like 90 to 110.
Yeah.
Now it's $1.56 to 160.
Yeah.
Market cap now, like its
100%.
value, it used to be 3 bill. Now it's 5.1 bill.
Yeah.
Insane.
it's been big for them. It's been big for them.
They made more money in the couple stats that I always go back to is GW made more money than Tesla during COVID, and Games Workshop now in Britain has a higher GDP than their British entire fishing industry. So like
Plastic toys.
a basic food stuff is doing more than the fucking ocean.
And you can go back and see Wizards of the Coast, like with whatever the budget they have to make cards, outdoing movies with $100 million budgets.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, movies nowadays like just dead.
Yeah,
Like-
but that was also movies at the peak. They talk about the Avengers, like it's the absolute peak of like video gaming. There,
yeah.
you got guests.
Oh, do you not lock the door?
Yeah,
How did it open? The key's there.
did it move or did it open?
It opened.
Did it? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll tell this
All
guy.
right.
Wait, you went to the bathroom. Did you lock the door?
I don't know. I thought you would lock the door. What the hell is that? All right. Kang's gonna lock the door.
We almost had a visitor.
Almost.
Did you recognize who it was, William?
No, it just opened, and then I guess I think the person heard us talking, and then like,
Was the person there, Kang, when you got there?
Yeah, I saw it was like a whole family walking away.
oh shit.
Yeah. But I enjoyed the whole people walking into a store with the lights turned off, just being like, anyone here? Anyone home? Can I have a look? Go away.
I want to check it out.
It's
I want
no-
to check it
being
out.
curious.
I had the I don't know if you've noticed with them, but I got some new TVs hung on my walls.
Oh
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, so there's one on either side.
Let's
of the,
go.
Yeah,
Don't have to like shout anymore.
I christened it last night by watching my football team not win against Luton.
Hey, it was real convenient. Just
Yeah.
being able to see the TVs as I'm using them.
Yeah, them not having behind you does make
Yeah.
a big difference, right? But I had that hang here, and so I'm here in my work gear because I was going out in the truck after. There's another guy here in his work gear trying to get, and we're both standing up on the ladders as we place the TV on there, and a guy walks in. And he's like, "Hey, you guys open?" And just continues to walk into the shop. And we're both like standing there holding the TV. It's almost like a fucking like a TV show. Where it's like the memes, like we're both standing there holding the TV, looking at this guy wandering in. We're like, clearly not. By
just want to like talk about the store while we're on podcast is, do you know like you can just section this off with shelves and then just leave like a small empty.
well, what I want to do is I like the podcast.
The section
stuff.
is podcast section. By the way.
Yeah, what I'd like to do is keep it visible because people quite regularly ask, like, "Oh, do you guys do a podcast so it's visible?" But I'm going to go get one of those. This movie, like it's like mounted on one side of the wall, and you pull the strap, almost like a seatbelt kind of thing across, and then attach it to the
it's like a hazard tape.
Yeah, I just haven't got around to doing it, but that's the intention.
Right,
I just piled
right.
chairs in front of it. And people get the
Ideally,
message.
once we sort out some of the storage, I could probably start doing it now. Some of the stuff in the sea container goes to the restaurant. Some of the stuff in the back of the just the storage area of the shop goes into the sea container.
Is Black Sheep opening soon?
Yes, it is. We've got everything. Everything's ready to go.
Let's go.
Uber Eats should be sending back. They got back to us on Thursday, Friday, and we should have everything like every.
Are we gonna have Black Sheep tasting?
I'm going to do, because we're not opening the restaurant side for quite a while. We actually have some concept stuff we want to start first.
Yeah, we can Uber Eats to ourselves.
But we are going to do a bunch of soft opens there. So I'm going to do some like game events there, some like some stuff where we can sell alcohol and stuff as well.
Right.
We're going to do a few things like run some events in there before worrying about.
Is there signage or no signage?
There's no signage at the moment. No.
Okay.
Yeah, because we're not going to bother. The things that we're going to run out of there is the 2 dark kitchens, which aren't going to have the same name, like aren't going to have the black sheep, so we're going to worry about that. And in the meantime, while we do the soft opens, I don't want people walking in and then thinking that it's open and we're like
not serving them.
Yeah, or that it's sporadically. I'd rather wait until the dining side is definitely open, and then we put up the signage. So then when people wander in and look for it, they're not every time they wander, like come to look at it, it's not open.
Awesome.
But yeah. Really, so once that happens, I want to clear out this whole podcast section and have it far more cleaner and maybe less like we're not using it as a storage area, so that it's very visibly just a podcast area.
Nice.
And then putting up a sign with our like actual logo and stuff on there and stuff like that, I think is definitely the end goal, because it becomes an advertising thing within itself.
We need to have video like to show like I think like the whole area, right?
Well, the dream, like I really enjoy doing this. The real dream is like, and we talked about like the operations of the podcast before about getting more guests on and being more organized and organizing the social media. I truly believe the social media is a really strong part of how we're going to push forward and get numbers. Having some consistency there, I think, is really important. But I really want to get to a point where we have a podcasting like room set up, and it doesn't have to be anything crazy. Like I'm looking at renting a new place in Pearsall around the corner in the next probably like 6 to 12 months. And there's going to be a lot of extra rooms there. So I could turn one of the rooms specifically into a more dedicated place where it has fixed cameras and better sound buffering and stuff like that as well, which might make some of the editing for Kang just a little bit more simple, So some things like that. And, but I love doing this every week and pushing it forward is something I'd like to do. And so having a more permanent setup is something that's on the...
Speaking of like social media as well, like Good Games Morley has quite a successful TikTok and like content creation
that's crazy.
cycle. I wonder if, they themselves have to have a certain level of they love doing it. They have a passion. And you can tell
definitely,
way they inject it as well. Like they're the kind of people that really do like to go and, present content. So... And then they recently have. Do you guys see the recent one with Gavin Verhey?
Yeah,
that was a big deal, right?
Insane,
So Good Games Morley went to America.
Yeah,
they went on a trip, and with part of that trip as well, they went to go meet up with Gavin Verhey, who's one of the creative leads for Wizards of the Coast. So you make content for Magic the Gathering and for your card game, and then eventually you get to meet someone from Wizards of the Coast and make content with them. That's kind of the dream, right?
You really can't go any higher than Gavin Verhey for like social magic content, right?
Exactly. Like Maro, maybe Mark Rosewater's the next person.
Yeah, true.
Gavin Verhey and Mark Rosewater are kind of the only two like front-facing spokespeople for Wizards of the Coast now. And in fact, they have him on making funny content as well. Impressive stuff, like real props that like a store in Western Australia was able to get there.
Yeah, it's a super far like distance to hit from here to there, right?
Every store in Australia.
Yeah.
In terms of socials.
So whatever they're doing.
Yeah, they're doing it right. Yeah,
so
it's great.
When we sit there and talk about it, it's like the preparation and organization of really focusing down and on the social media and what you can get out of it. But it is hard. Like they've done something really well that a lot of people are doing nowadays is like telling the story and creating it less about like on your social media rather than just trying to sell product, because people don't relate to advertising anywhere near as much as like the good content. But that good content does take time and a bit like skill to create and come up with and write. So they're more like actors and writers than they are like
for sure.
advertisers.
You can tell that the skits they're doing are like thought out.
Yeah, correct.
That's a big deal.
Kang and I always talk about it's quite funny, and you relate a bit to this, William. But so much of the skits that they do are really directed at me and you and Kang more than anyone else, because
so much of it is the day-to-day life of what it's like running an LGS.
Yeah,
working behind the counter at an LGS. You're like, wait a fucking minute.
Yeah,
this happens to me every day.
Like I like their general viewership and their customers can sit there and be like, oh yeah, that's funny. But for me and Kang, we're like, this happened to me 3 times this week, And we always talk about it's funny when anybody's making a joke on behalf of someone else. It's like that person will sit there and be like, oh, it's funny when that guy does that. But in my head, like, in your head, just like me and Kang's like, that's you, buddy. It's like they're directly taking the piss out of the exact people that they're getting the attention from, which is very funny.
But they figured it out. They were able to take like the everyday experience that an average person doesn't have, which is what it's like working behind a card game shop.
Yeah.
But able to take the spin on that and take their everyday experiences and make it a skit, make it comedic. So, and it comes naturally for them, which is, I guess,
an impressive I like skill.
It. My favorite one that they've done is when, and I think you will relate to this a bit, is like when people ask you like, hey, have you got this card? And you're like, I don't know, there's thousands of cards. People will call us because on their thing, someone calls up the shop and is like, hey, do you have this card? Do you have this card? Do you have this card? And the person replying is like, I don't know, there's a website, like go check the website. I don't know every single card we have.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm sure you're sitting at the table playing One Piece and someone will be like, hey, have you got this card? And you're like, I just look at the website. Like it's so easy to use and function on there. And your head like, are you expecting me to remember every single thing that's in my store? Like
Maybe, I don't know.
it's the equivalent
I could tell William was getting frustrated when like Eternal Magic was really like first starting and popping off.
Yeah.
And he was getting messages like DMs and people were walking up and asking, do you know if you have this card?
Yeah.
What do you mean, do I know?
Like Nem came to me a few weeks ago and he's like, hey, can you get this card from William? And he shows me the card. I look it up. It's like $1 rare. I was like, you go buy the $1 rare. I'm not messaging Will for you to like pull in a favor to get $1 card. Like just go sort it out, cuz. Like, what are we doing? But it's the equivalent of like going to Bunnings with your dad or something and he walks up to the person. He's like, do you have this screw? And then like gets frustrated when the 17-year-old girl doesn't know if they have that screw. It's like, why? Like they can't remember every single product in this entire place, you know?
Yeah.
It's insane. Yeah.
Have you managed to curb it or are you still getting a lot of requests via
I
Facebook
do.
messages?
I used to get a lot of requests. People asking if I have this, and this. Like, do you have it? Like, probably have to check. Like, oh, sometimes they do check. And like, oh, I checked it. Like, you don't out of stock. I'm like,
Yeah, you're like, if the system says down stock, the chance of me having it is like, it's the equivalent of like when I worked at Woolworths and people were like, can you go check out the back? You know what I mean? It's like they're getting you to check out the
and
back.
then you just go do the skill. Like, I'll go to the back and just stand there. Then it comes out like, I checked it. It's not available.
Yeah, and Williams just pulls up his phone and just scrolls a few minutes on Instagram. He's like, oh yeah, it says we've got none.
I get the one that really gets me is when I'm in the midst of sorting cards, like I'm going through sorting and trying to organize the cards that will eventually find their space in the binder. And then a customer walks up and is like, can I have a look at the cards you're sorting? And I'm like, not right now. I got my piles. Don't touch my piles. So
Get really defensive over
Somebody's
them.
trying to come into the shop again.
always, dude. Anyway, so
famous.
back into the 41st millennium. So we also have a bunch of new releases coming out for 40K as well. These are pretty exciting for the 40K players. For the longest time ever, there's still a lot of old minis. Space Marines are massive. Like, Space Marines are a massive, massive selection of minis, and a lot of them are still old, and they're doing a big roundup where they're updating a lot of the older ones. So especially for the chapter masters, like the characters, we've got a couple new ones.
Some of the new characters, like the Salamanders guys coming through.
Lysandra's back.
man.
Ooh,
Yeah, so we'll start with Vulcan Histan is the chapter master for the Salamanders. A pretty iconic character because Vulcan Histan.
we can start our second painting competition now.
Yeah.
Where the
moment.
first one is not even completed yet.
Well, that just makes you the winner, William. Just get it back.
I'm gonna soundbite that noise.
We need a side bet right now.
Yeah.
I don't want to do things without editing now.
The Vulcan Histan's pretty iconic character for the Salamanders because his whole shtick is that he's trying to collect all the pieces of Vulcan, like the artifacts that Vulcan has, and the prophecy is when you collect all of Vulcan's artifacts, he comes back alive. So there's nothing bigger for a space.
Is that like a general law thing?
That's like a prophecy. That's like a Salamander's
Oh.
prophecy that like when
What happened to
when Vulcan disappeared? Well, I'm not a big. I don't know the law. I'm gonna say he's missing and probably dead ?
Yeah.
And then all of Vulcan's like artifacts.
I don't understand why all the Primarchs have issues.
I think
Their dad wasn't great.
what happened
They had a
was
pretty bad dad.
when they first starting writing the Horus Heresy, they were just trying to tell a cool story, but then because the game was popular but nowhere near as popular as now,
Yeah.
right? So back then they were happy just to kill off certain characters and be fine. But then as marketing, like the marketing teams for the game is like, hey, we could, if we can make this model, we will sell millions of dollars worth of product.
Yeah.
So it's that you know, in like Avengers, like in Marvel, they'll kill off a character, but you know they're going to be back. They'll be resurrected for the next season. It's because you want to tell a cool story where there's actually high stakes, but you're at odds with your marketing team or your CEO who's telling you like, yeah, but we need Black Widow to be back here. Like we've got her locked into a 3-movie contract, and we will sell $5 million if she's here in spandex. And that like Vulcan and stuff are the same. It's like, who's the one that his head got chopped off in the actual battle of the Horus Heresy?
Oh fuck.
It's like the Iron Hands
Peter
guy,
Robert?
right? Yeah,
Peter Rabo?
yeah.
No. No, that's Iron Hands.
Ferrous Menace.
Iron Hands, right?
Yeah,
Iron
Ferrous
Warriors.
Menace. Yeah. He gets his head chopped off.
Bro, I had to dig deep.
He gets his head chopped off like right at the get go. So it means his ability to print models of him through the game is almost none because it's like he
there
gets
are
murdered.
certain characters that are
.1.
dead, right?
Yeah.
And now GW can never make a mini for them
Correct,
as much as fans want to.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, but if they did, they would sell millions of dollars worth of products. So you
But
have,
they can just make like a iteration of it, like you
Well,
know,
yeah.
like
Well, it's
models
why-
we have no rules. Kind
It's
of thing.
why Horus Heresy.
that's basically why Horus Heresy exists, right?
Yeah.
Because you can go back to the point when they were all alive at bare minimum, and then have people play out their favorite.
Who chopped off his
characters.
head?
The Slanesh guy.
Fulgrim.
Yeah,
Fulgrim.
Fulgrim,
Yeah,
yeah.
Fulgrim was a good duelist.
Because that was like the whole point of the story. That was I think that's supposed to be the very pivotal turning point for Horus, where there's no going back. Because he realizes as Fulgrim brings in, Fulgrim's already been taken over by the demon that's inside him.
Yeah.
So he's no longer Fulgrim, his brother. And he brings him and he dumps the head on Horus's desk. And that's when Horus realizes the true significance of what he's pushed forward, and seeing like in the book it talks about how he's seeing Phrasmanus' face stare back at him, and looking at the evil face of Fulgrim in front of him. He's like, I have to just push forward from here. Like I got to push any human feelings down inside of me that I had, and realize that it doesn't matter now. Like there's no going back. So
Yeah. Also, important note as well. Volcanistan is still technically firstborn, but has Primaris proportions. Like, I think it's
there's a lot of padding. He's got chest padding and stuff.
yeah. Well, it's safe to say that GW and most players now accept that they would rather have Space Marines that look more like Primaris. Because
Correct,
they sell better, they look better, you can do more with the mini, but people still love their firstborn. So what they've done is they've just taken firstborn and just giving them Primaris proportions to update their minis, and not saying they necessarily cross the Rubicon and become Primaris. So that the lore guys are like, fine. And then the mini guys are like, yes, we have new minis.
Do you aesthetically, if you were to scale them up, do you like the firstborn more or the Primaris more?
Absolutely Primaris. Primaris, you can debate me all you want. Come at me. But
Primaris.
Primaris look better. There are some minis which you can debate that old school look better. Like, for example, I've never been a big fan of the Repulsor tanks, and I still like the old Predator tanks more.
Yep.
But as for Space Marines themselves, I think they almost universally look better.
Yeah, I think the firstborn character models, like the chaplains and all those body
Have a lot of
shapes,
charm.
look a lot better in the old models. But the scale the new scale is significantly better. So I'm really into the old school helmet and like the
Correct. Old school
things,
helmet mixed with Primaris proportions looks great.
But I do have to admit, if you were to create an actual soldier to fight in space, the Primaris makes way more sense.
Yeah.
Like the athletically built like armor guards and stuff, and especially the legs, they look more like a soldier that could move around on a battlefield rather than
Brother!
Brother!
Charging into Orc fire.
yeah, like the stompy guys.
And then William's big Imperial Fist guy with new Lysander. Lysander is the chapter master. I think
Oh, you're a
he's-
big
he's
Imperial Fist guy? Would you like
No,
to
I
buy
just like
all of
Lysander.
Rory's
He's
Imperial
chapter
Fists?
master, right?
No.
He's chapter master?
No, he's not chapter master. I don't think he's chapter master. I think.
Gotcha. But big chunky boy.
Just a cool guy with a big shield.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
and
like
he's
his
in
Thunder Hammer and
Terminator
Storm Shield.
armor as well with a Thunder Shield. Looks great. For the Imperial Fist players, it's always something nice to get something new because they don't actually usually get a lot of love. They don't normally get a lot of new minis.
No,
So,
beautiful.
yeah. And the shield, the detail they're packing on the minis now, the sheer amount of details they're putting on the minis that GW is doing, they're ahead of everyone else in the game.
Yeah.
Right?
There's just two head options there. There's a regular Terminator, and then there's just like a guy who's in his 40s balding. What's the...
That's Lysander, man.
It's like he's just had a rough life, poor fella.
Now, the big one is Atheon Shan, who's not the chapter master. So chapter master is Trivan Shrike.
Yep.
For the Raven Guard, and this is some other character. I can't remember exactly who it is. No, he's the current chapter master.
So is Shrike dead?
Yeah,
No,
probably.
so apparently in the lore, that Kaivan Shrike is just hanging out somewhere, doing covert things, I guess. But yeah, so we have a new
Yeah,
chapter
Barbados.
master mini for Raven
Shalom.
Guard. His mini is insanely detailed.
Yeah.
They gave a Space Marine feathers. They just leaned it hard.
They took him away from the Blood Angels and gave him to the Raven Guard.
Yeah, literally. They were like, well, they're called Raven Guard, and we're not going to escape the allegations that they're all magpies and they're like crows and such.
Yeah.
So we're just going to lean it hard, give them feathers.
It does feel a lot closer. The paint job does a good thing to it, like the one they're using on the display, but it does feel more like the Norse mythology crow
It does.
kind of
Like
situation.
a foretelling
Yeah.
kind of deal. So awesome mini. I don't know. This one is one of those minis where it's definitely a step up for painting. For for a Space Marine player to paint this is some advanced stuff here.
Yeah, it's also far more of a display model, like a centerpiece than it
Very,
is
very.
like a battlefield kind of situation going on with the birds and the.
but has been a strong fan favorite from pre-order standpoints alone. People have been really interested in this mini.
Yeah.
And then we have old meta
Iron
here
Hands.
for Iron Hands. We have Canuck Var. I don't know anything about Iron Hands, gentlemen. I think he looks fine. He's a big, chunky,
He's very
old
chunked,
school,
yeah.
old school looking spaceman with plate armor and an old like tech marine style helmet.
He's also rocking that 90s pose before they could do dynamic posing because everything was done in a metal sheet. So it was like his two arms are just out like this.
But that's just Iron Warriors, right? Like Iron Warriors is standing stoically the chapter.
Yeah.
What's your opinion, William?
It's all right.
Yeah, this one's probably less exciting. I think, but
There are a lot of Iron Warrior fans out there.
I think because the Iron Warriors get also like a lot less love compared to some other chapters. I think they'll be chomping at the bit just
Honestly,
to get their
cool
hands on
just to
anything.
see Iron Warriors get any minis. Well, once again, they don't get a lot of love, so cool to see them get some stuff. So, also, we call them Iron Warriors, and we just it's Iron Hands.
Oh, whatever.
We
This-
completely
this-
Iron
grouped it,
Warriors
it's
is
Iron
chaos.
Hands.
That's not our problem that they were named the same shit, right?
Yeah, I know, right?
As casual fans, that's they did that to us. For
And
me,
then,
the Iron Hands,
and then
it always reminds me of the
the-
Sauron army because of the white hand on them all the time.
Yeah, and then the rare occasional white scars mini out of nowhere.
Sabudan Khan.
Yeah, Super Dead card.
Yeah.
Nice. I like this dynamic.
He's
Very
got
dynamic.
he looks good. Like the space marine stuff looks good. Why do they take the bikes off my bikes? Why do they take the wheels off my?
I know.
They gave Super Dan Khan.
This is 40K.
Yeah.
You don't need wheels.
Man.
I know, bro, but it's so cool, man.
The
Right?
Outriders have wheels, and Outriders look cool. That chaplain,
That's the lamest
that
thing.
chaplain with a bike.
When I
is like
see
on
40K, like, how can you miss? You're in 40K.
So the lore is they
Yeah,
have
like seeking bullets by the day.
So I believe the lore is that the White Scars have jet bikes, and Super Dan Khan, this is like a jet bike. But why doesn't it look like a Customs jet bike? And why is it a repulsor jet bike? I don't like my repulsor stuff,
Sorry,
dude.
Yeah.
I know why. Because it's Dune, right? Because technology was like going backdate, and then no one has to go back to primitive.
Just look at
guns
the
and
mini
stuff.
and imagine if it looked more like the chaplain on bike, where it was like he's got that real like metal and like big chunky wheels, that old school like biker feel. Instead of just hover, because this hover bike looks like it goes, whoa, 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 whoa. You know what I mean? It just like floats around.
That's
That was
Star Wars,
cool.
bro.
I don't know if you remember from the first the new Star Wars trilogy, but Rey, the female lead, she rides around on like a hovercrafty thing in the first episode, and it looks very much like the exact
Wait,
same
what's
thing.
his name again?
Super Dan Khan.
Sounds like Sabuba
What?
in the Tatooine planet.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, scientifically, a hover bike makes far more sense for their advanced technology. But motorbikes are cool, man, and that's what made them cool in the first place.
Sabuba.
I want a trail of dust coming from behind him.
What's
and
that?
just
What's
charging
that thing
through.
called again? That pod racing.
Yeah, it does.
This is just a pod racer.
I was also going to say something. It looks like the one, the pod races have the two engines in the front. It's just like one side of them.
Yeah.
Sabuba. What's his wrench? So you just throw the wrench in the other bike. And then the other bike crashes.
But yeah, plenty of new Space Marine love over there. So awesome new things coming out. I mean, I think
getting
Warhammer, obviously you mentioned as well, their market cap's at an all-time high. They're definitely using that newfound money as well to kind of push more minis out and push more product. Like we have more game systems that GW has ever had in the past. More minis coming out than they ever have. Like every weekend now there's a release, but every weekend is a release with multiple things.
Yeah.
So-
like Kill Team and Blood Bowl and stuff like that, like smashing it with like play bases as well, which is always good to see because some of the big box games where you have far maybe too much financial investment to get started is harder for everybody to get involved. So things like Kill Team and Blood Bowl really offering good rule sets and playability make a big difference.
Yeah. All right, we got to cut this one a bit shorter. We're at 10:30 now, which means that the store's going to open in 30 minutes. We've reached the hour mark of this podcast episode. Any last words you guys want to say as well?
Oh yes. Should we make the call?
Oh yeah. I guess we'll do an open call. So if anybody is interested in joining us on the podcast to have a yarn, shoot us a message through the thing, and we could
Any of your Northern socials or whatever?
yeah, any of the
Yeah.
Facebook
If you're keen, if you're like a
Instagram,
hobbyist,
Facebook.
if you're
Just give us a
interesting, if you think yourself as an interesting person, please contact us.
If you'd like to send us a CV, a guest CV,
3 pages, please.
mail it to PO Box kangshouse.com.au.
Yes.
So anyway, my address is beep.
Yeah, if you're interested, come have a yarn.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Everyone.
Cool. Bye.